Hello, it's been a while. I hope you all are doing well. So, recently, of late, I have been getting questions or have been taking up counseling sessions wherein the topic has been with youngsters generally and on the lines of relationships or hurt or deceit and all the other vehement adjectives that you can imagine. Now, this made me look at it as a common theme in which relationships, which are considered ones of romantic nature, are taken up in a way which is misguiding, which is eventually leading to hurt. And hence, I would like to talk about how we consider love to be nothing more than attraction or habituation to the other's presence. And this is a really interesting topic because it makes us look at it deeply and question our general perception of what we consider a romantic relationship to be, a tool for growth. Can it be so? And we try to look at the general nature of our relationships through it. So, I would like to title this as, is our love really what we think it to be? Does romantic love work in the way that we imagine? Or does being in a constant touch with another person, be it emotional, be it mental, be it physical, what importance does it have or how does it affect an individual? Let us look at it deeply. Now, one example of this comes through the new generational thing, or maybe it has been going on since a while, but it has never been verbalized or formalized through literary standards by people admitting to it, where we look at relationships through a lens of it being like a fling or a casual thing, where usually people of opposite sexes who are attracted towards each other try to explore their being together, maybe through an emotional dependency or a physical one. And the objective over here, of course, through this very association, seems to be one of getting one's needs fulfilled. May it be one of companionship, may it be of getting a kind of an emotional communion, or may it be of a lower, so called lower order, of it being one of physical satisfaction or gratification. Now, when one goes into it, when one indulges into these things, one needs to really look at themselves and see that is this pull or their urge towards the other, is it really arising out of a genuine need, or is it something which we have looked at in general in the society, that a person is destined to be with one of the opposite gender and that's how things should function, that you need a companionship, you need a physical bond, you need an emotional reliance on the other? Is it something which is genuinely required for you, or have you taken it up upon yourself by just witnessing the others? One can certainly look at the examples of how the others behave who are already in such relationships. Simply look at your parents, look at other people who are going through such relationships. Are they genuinely happy? Are they growing? Do they look better in this dependency on each other? Is this dependency making them a richer person, or is it draining them? And this example would serve as the first point of reflection for you. And when, even if you do venture into such a relationship or such an exploration, one has to go through everything consciously. When you look at it very subjectively, rather, you need to look at it objectively. And when you see that, are you growing? Are your inclinations towards creativity, towards your other aspects of your life, are they blossoming? Or is the relationship in itself becoming the center of your life, where everything else, all the other beauty, just vanishes away? Are you becoming a one track person because of this? Are you losing out on a lot of beauty, a lot of impulsiveness in terms of the effortless abundance that is available to you? Is it getting drained out of your life, or are you becoming more available to it? And if one is honest to themselves, if they see in within themselves or at their joy, whether it is increasing or decreasing, they will usually find that there are quite a few relationships, very rare ones, that really allow the other individual to become a better person, to grow, to leave behind their inhibitions, to move ahead in a fearless direction. There are very rare instances that this kind of an communion really allows them to become more rounded. And therein lies your answer. Is the relationship that you are indulging in, although we started talking about it in a romantic sense, but it could be much more than this. We can talk about friendly relationships. We can talk about your relationship with your work. We can talk about your relatives, your parents, the most intimate and the most external ones. Are your relationships letting you blossom? Are they taking you towards a kind of growth? Are they making you sensitive? Are they pushing you in a healthy fashion, not into endless cycles of dread? So, this is a question for you for grounding. And we might realize, or we might see, that many of the things that we have latched on to, instead of it being a relationship of love, it has become one of attachment, one of just laying or carrying a very heavy load on our heads and our shoulders. And it's not bad to carry load or heaviness when you see that this is something very important to do. But if this load is not letting you go towards the important things, it is not letting you go towards joy, it is becoming an inhibitor for your growth, that's when you need to realize that this is not functioning in a healthy way. And if something is not functioning healthily for you, it is in a way to be taken for granted that the other person will not get joy out of it either. If there is any kind of a spark within you, it permeates into the others as well. We have said this in the past that when a flower blossoms, its fragrance spreads around into the world, and no one can be left untouched by this essence, by this odor. And the first ones to get this fragrance will be the ones close to you. If you see yourself getting into negative spirals, if you see yourself feeling chained, if you see that you are not really achieving this simplicity, this bereftness of the heavy load that we talked about, then you might be in a bad place, in a bad relationship. And it is important when you see that it is not working or things are really not taking you towards lightness. Realizing this in itself is a good thing. Acknowledging things, acknowledging problems is the initiator of getting the results. This is a right step towards the correct direction. When you see this, when you are honest with yourself, when you are able to acknowledge that there is something wrong, only then will you be able to embark on this journey, or at least be honest and get out of the rut that you have put yourself in, that you have put the others around you by extension into as well. It doesn't take a lot more than basic honesty to go towards the simpler path. We think that there is a lot to do, or there is so many things that need to be done in order to make this situation uncomplicated, but rather it is the need for an honest inquiry, an honest admittance to yourself that the path that you have been treading on is not the honest one. It is one which is making things heavy, it is complicating things, and it is not taking you towards resolution. There might be a lot of pleasure that you might be getting, but if you are honest with yourself, then you will see that there is so much of pain as well. And in this roller coaster of pleasure and pain, pleasure and pain, pleasure and pain, you will find that the pleasure is never satisfactory, or it will never quench your actual thirst. Rather, to cover your frustrations and disappointments, you would have to take in more and more bouts of this pleasure. You would have to try and extract the most out of the other person, and yet you will never find yourself truly satisfied. The beauty, the tranquility, and the peace that lies in your own nakedness is not even comparable to the companionship which is of such an ordinary nature. You would find yourself in a lot of deformities. You would find your frustrations just mounting. You will See that instead of things getting resolved, you see a problem arising every day. And then you have to firefight. And you have to do this firefighting every single day. There is no peace. And without peace, where is your mental health? Where is your growth? Where is your momentum towards living a beautiful life, a decent life? All those things have gone to the backbenchers. They are not there. That lightness, where is it? How did it go away? And then we go on to have such dreams, or we go on to idealizing our childhood, our innocence. But you do not admit that you killed this innocence yourself by consciously choosing this cycle of pleasure and pain over the choice of simplicity that was available to you in abundance. Every moment it gives you this choice between simplicity or further complications, and you have been choosing the latter. And every step that you take in order to keep this lust for pleasure active will become your reason for your own downfall. You will see that the solutions are not being attained. Rather, the push towards solutions when it comes through a center which is dedicated towards pleasure or lust will not take you towards simplicity ever. Rather, it will put you into the jail of further complications. These complications will keep on escalating. Isn't it a better way or a good solution to step back every once in a while, look at our acts, see for each one of our acts whether it is taking us towards resolution, or is it binding us into more and more untangled coils, or rather the tangled coils or the cobwebs that we see in our usual lives. It would be such a beautiful existence if we see that there is a way of strength wherein one chooses simplicity, wherein one chooses freedom for oneself and for the other, wherein one understands that this way of freedom goes through recognizing one's own fullness instead of looking at oneself as necessarily being dependent on the other. How does one achieve this? It is by a sequence, a shrinkla of good actions, of intelligent living, of being courageous, where you choose being in your own individuality instead of making very cheap choices which compromise on your freedom, on yourself. And this is not easy, it takes a lot of resolve. But when you see, when you are a good observer, when you are conscious, when you are honest, you see that in reality, this is the only real, actual way that keeps you grounded and brings you towards resolution. I hope you get that courage, or you really believe in yourself to be able to achieve this. Thank you. Take care.